Welcome to The Explainer. So let's just dive right in, shall we? Today, we're unpacking something really special, the WBG automotive sales methodology. Look, if you're sick and tired of just barely scraping by and hitting quota, and you're ready to make that leap from average performer to an absolute elite closer, you are in the exact right place. This isn't your standard run-of-the-mill list of tips, no way. It's a transformative, high-performance blueprint built specifically for champions. Let's get into it.
We've got a ton of ground to cover today. We're going to walk through 6 distinct phases. First, the champion mindset. Second, rituals and daily targets. Third, the road to the sale. Number 4, mastering objection handling. 5, closing personalities and transitions. And finally, number 6, building lifetime loyalty.
But hey, before we break down the actual tactical execution, I really want you to focus on this quote from WBG founder and CEO Isaac Ward. He says, "Average is not your name. Talent without grind is nothing." Man, that just completely sets the tone for everything we're about to discuss today, doesn't it? We literally have to treat sales with the high-stakes, rigorous discipline of professional athletics. So, let's get grinding.
Phase 1, the champion mindset. Remember, winning starts internally.
Because for elite closers, winning begins way before they ever shake a customer's hand, take a phone call, or even send out that very first email. It all boils down to the Champions Code, which is built on 4 absolute, non-negotiable pillars. First up is hunger. That means you are out there creating opportunities. You're never just standing around waiting for someone to walk onto the lot. Second is discipline. Embracing the pressure and always staying prepared. Third is commitment. Basically owning your own scoreboard and your own results. And finally, a growth mindset, where you turn every single challenge and even every lost deal into absolute fuel for success. Listen, these aren't just cheap motivational buzzwords. These are the exact, concrete principles that separate the truly elite from your average, everyday performers.
Moving on to Phase 2, rituals and daily targets. It's time for concrete daily action. All right, so this is where we actually shift gears from that internal mindset directly into concrete execution. While an average performer might just, show up to the lot, grab a coffee, and see what the day brings, a champion operates on a totally different wavelength. They use the WBG success formula, knowledge plus passion equals sales success. And this whole process begins with mandatory morning rituals. It kicks off with mindset calibration the exact moment you wake up. Then, and guys, this is a massive differentiator here, 15 minutes of out-loud script practice before you even make your first contact. After that, you hit the ground running with what's called a power start, completing 10 follow-up calls by 10 a.m. sharp. Finally, you spend 5 minutes actively visualizing the sale actually happening. It's this kind of highly structured execution that literally prepares you for battle every single day.
So once those morning rituals are in the bag, it is all about hitting your daily execution targets. Boom, 10 calls. That's your very first baseline metric of the day. Keep it fast, keep it rhythmic, and absolutely make sure it's recorded in your CRM.
Next up, 10 texts. We're talking about totally relentless outreach here. You can't just rely on a single channel anymore. You've got to meet your customers exactly where they are with serious speed and precision.
Then, 5 direct messages. You are hitting them on social platforms, making sure that multi-channel pipeline stays completely full. And let me be super clear about this. Hitting these exact minimum activity numbers, it's not a suggestion. It's a strict requirement.
And wrapping up the daily targets, we have 2 referrals. You simply have to ask for them. So, just to recap, that daily rhythm is 10 calls, 10 texts, 5 DMs, and 2 referrals. True champions treat these exact numbers as their baseline, their absolute floor, not their ceiling. This rhythm is literally the engine of the entire WBG system.
All right, Phase 3, the road to the sale. Remember, speed to lead is absolutely critical.
This is where the actual customer encounter kicks off. But actually scratch that. Before a single word is even spoken, you must respond to any new inquiries within 15 minutes. Why? Because in this business, time literally kills deals. A rapid response is what keeps a deal from going dead on arrival. Then, once you're engaged, you enter these 12 sequential steps of the WBG process. This goes from prospecting to the meet and greet, all the way through the test drive, handling objections, and finally the F&I transition. The most crucial point to take away here is this. You cannot skip a step and expect to magically close the deal. It just doesn't work like that. You have to respect the process every single time.
Let's zoom in real quick on an essential part of that road, the transition from the meet and greet into needs discovery, or what the curriculum likes to call detective mode.
Look, you win that first impression in mere seconds, with a confident posture, a genuine smile, and really strong eye contact. But after that, you've got to dig deep. And you do this by using power questions. Things like, why now? Or what are your absolute must-haves? Active listening is fantastic, sure, but always remember this golden rule. Whoever asks the questions controls the conversation.
Phase 4. Mastering objection handling. This is all about treating friction as information.
Now, obviously, even the absolute best discovery phase is going to encounter some friction, but elite closers, they completely reframe how they view that friction. To a champion, objections are not rejections. They're not a hard no. They are simply requests for more information. So when that friction inevitably hits, whether it's about the budget, the timing, or needing to go home and talk to a spouse, you need a rock-solid, reliable system. You use what's called the master key. Step 1, you isolate the objection to ensure it's actually the real roadblock. Step 2, you validate it, making sure the customer feels totally heard and understood. And Step 3, you solve it. This 3-step procedure is just flawless. It lets you handle literally any form of friction so smoothly, keeping all that momentum moving forward without ever getting combative.
Phase 5. Closing personalities and transitions. You have to match the personality. As we drive toward the finish line here, you've got to remember that an elite closer never ever uses a one-size-fits-all pitch. If you genuinely want to maximize your success, you have to match your closing technique directly to the buyer's specific personality, using a strategic closing matrix. So, let's break down the 4 main buyer types. If your buyer is analytical and super data-driven, you'll want to use a summary close, providing a full, logical recap. If they're a driver, someone who just loves being decisive and in control, you use an option close. Basically, give them a clear A or B choice. Now, for an expressive, highly emotional buyer, you just ride that enthusiasm right into an assumptive close. And finally, for an amiable, relationship-focused buyer, a nice, gentle summary close works best. It's like a giant puzzle. You're just finding the right piece to unlock their specific psychology.
Okay, so once you finally get that yes, you're faced with the finance and insurance transition. And guys, you can never, ever do a blind handoff. It's a huge mistake. A proper handoff requires 4 distinct steps. First, pre-frame early by planting seeds way back during your discovery phase. Second, do a warm intro. That means physically walking them to F&I yourself. Third, use a precise handoff script clearly explaining that the finance team is just there to help complete state paperwork. And above all else, protect your CSI and grows through total transparency. Always keep this pro tip in mind. The sale isn't over until the car crosses the curb.
Finally, Phase 6. Building lifetime loyalty. Turning single sales into clients for life.
For an average salesperson, the relationship pretty much ends the moment those taillights leave the lot. But for WBG champions, closing a sale is literally just the opening move for the very next transaction. It kicks off an exact 90-day customer journey and referral engine. It starts on delivery day, where you provide a true wow experience. We're talking perfect tech setup and maybe even a pristine photo moment to make it memorable. Then on day 7, you make a satisfaction check-in call and actually confirm their first service appointment. Fast forward to day 30, you're sending a friendly maintenance reminder and politely requesting a Google review. And finally, by day 90, you're capturing a video testimonial and directly asking them, who else do you know? That right there is exactly how you systematically build clients for life.
So, we've covered the mindset, the rigorous daily targets, those 12 essential steps, and the core closing psychology. You've got the blueprint in your hands now. But as the WBG methodology constantly reminds us, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So the path forward is pretty clear. Will you fall to the level of your current systems, or will you execute this exact process and rise to become a true sales champion? Keep grinding out there, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.